right, welcome back. So let's do a few things right away. First of all, let's change the color of this one to red. That way it kind of pops that people shouldn't be messing with. Well, that's not very good red. Shouldn't be editing this cell. And I'm going to do a fill here as well. I'm going to do a fill of yellow. So hopefully that'll pop up to somebody that they're not supposed to go in here and change the numbers. Because if you go in here and you type in like 25, say, I want a monthly payment of $250. It just erased that complicated formula we put in there. So I'm going to Control Z to undo that and get my formula back. So make sure you're holding that out for a do not edit thing. All right, next. So let's go over here to our first month. So our first month needs to be this start date. So whatever we put here, we want to be there. So over here at A2, I'm going to use equals, and I'm just going to come over here and click on F2. It's going to put F2 there, and I'm just going to push enter. And it's going to put that date right there. Now, I want this next cell to be 1 month ahead of this one, which in this case is February, but if later on in life I change this to March, the next one needs to be April. So we need to create a formula that's going to add a month to the previous month. The way we do that is a formula called eDate. So we're going to do equals to let Sheets know that we're going to have a formula coming up, and it's literally the letter E and then DATE afterwards, and then open parentheses. So eDate is a function that allows you to tell it what's the start date and then how many months you want to add or subtract to that date. So I go up here and I click, okay, my start date's right up here in cell A2, and then I do a comma, and then it tells me, okay, what next? How many months do you want to increase or decrease by? I'm going to do 1 month. If I did 2, it would move me forward 2 months. If I did -1, it would move me backwards in time 1 month. But I want to go forward 1 month, so right there. So eDate A2, 1 says, hey, take the date that's in A2 and add a month to it. I hit enter, and sure enough, there it is. Now it's in a different format, so we're gonna fix that in a second. And then I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drag this down. And I'm going to keep dragging it down. And actually, let's change our date here to 2020 so we can see. No, 2021 is a good place to put it. So that's the first year, second year. We want 6 years. So, I should have made this more clear, actually. Let me go back and delete these. If I want to take this formula and copy it down, I can actually click on the formula that I want to copy down. And right here, grab this blue square in the corner here and drag it down 1. When I do that, notice what it does. It took my A2, and because I moved down by 1, it changed it to A3, so it's grabbing this date instead of that date, and it's adding 1 to it. If I drag it down again, this one says, okay, go get A4 date and add 1 to it. So it's moving down every time automatically. All right, so what I'm going to do is keep dragging this down until I have 6 full years. And 6 full years will end at the end of 2026. So there's 4, there's 5, 10, 12. I can go further, it doesn't matter. I'm just go a little further, what do I care? So I went down to 7, just over 8 years. Car loans, whoa, that was not right. Again, if you do something wrong, Control Z will undo it. Car loans will typically not go over 6 years, so the 7th year isn't really that helpful. I overshot to 8. I'm just going to delete those, highlight them all, and delete them. All right. Excuse me. Oh, gosh. Now, let's go ahead and format these. So I'm going to click up here on the letter A at the very top. That's going to highlight the whole column, all the way down the sheets, all highlighted now. Which is a great way to highlight a whole column. And then I'm going to come up here to format, and I'm going to say number, and I'm going to come down here and say custom date and time, and I'm going to grab that date again and click OK. And now I've got it all in this nice way. And it was smart, like it didn't try and change the word month to a date. It left it as a word month. And then January, February, March, April. This makes a lot more sense to me when I'm doing it. Now here's the cool thing. If I come back over here and change this one over here and say I go March 2025, It knows that's a date, it puts the March there, and it puts April, May all the way through here. So I can just use this table and it's automatically updating for everything. So I'm going to connect over here and go January 2021 to get us all back to the same place. Now, this is the first month of my loan. The principal that I owe on my loan is the loan amount. So what I want to be in this principal is equal to, I could just type in 15,000, but then when I change this 15,000, it wouldn't change over here. So instead I'm going to type in equal and just click on the 15,000, or I could type in the cell address. I could type in F3 right here, F3. It doesn't have to be capitalized. I can just do F3 as fast as I can. And I'm going to hit enter. And notice that instead of leaving F3 in there, it's $15,000. But my formula is up here, so I can see what the formula is and what the answer is. So it's kind of nice to be able to look in both these places. The formula bar shows you the formula, the cell shows you the actual answer there. Now I need to calculate the interest. Remember, to calculate the interest, we've got to do the monthly interest rate times the principal that we still owe. So the principal we still owe is right here. So I'm going to do an equal sign again to let the sheets know that I'm doing a calculation. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to click on 15,000. I'm going to click on B2 here because that's the principal I owe. And I'm going to do times, so an asterisk. And then I'm going to come over here and click on my APR. And I'm going to do divided by 12. Again, I don't want to type in the 5.5% because if I change the APR later, I want my calculation to change. So notice here that I put cell addresses for almost everything. The 12 won't ever change. It's going to be 12 months in a year no matter what. So I type just the number 12 in there. And then I'm going to hit enter. And that's going to tell me that my first month, and right now it assumes I want to autofill this all the way down. So I could just say check and say yes, fill it all the way down. And we'll deal with making that make sense. I'm going to Control Z and undo that. Just have this first one here. Okay, so far so good. The first month I owe $15,000. At the end of that month, I'm going to get charged $68.75 in interest. Now, how much principal do I have left at the end of month 2? So I'm going to make a payment of $348.85. Of this $348.85, $68.75 here in interest is going to go to the lender. So check out how I figure out this next number. So the principal that goes here is going to be equal to my old principal amount minus my payment, which is this, also minus any extra payment I make. Right now it's 0, but it could be something in the future. So I'm going to do minus the extra payment I make. And then I've got to add in the interest because I'm being charged this amount. So plus the interest of this one. Woo, that is tricky. All right, so yeah, that's it. That's the next amount. And now hopefully this will make sense. Let's find out. So if I take 686, I'm going to do this in real quick on a calculator, just to check my calculation, make sure I didn't type anything wrong. So I had a payment of $348.85 minus the interest that goes to the bank minus $68.75. That leaves me with $280.10 paying off my loan. So that's going to be 15,000 minus 280.1. So I should have a balance of $14,719.90. $14,719.90. So right there it is, end of first month. It's less than what I paid off because a chunk of what I paid off went to the lender as interest. Right? I lost $68 of my payment to interest. Now, the next calculation is actually just this one. I'm just going to pull it straight down and we'll see what it does. So this month it says, oh geez, it's going to cost us almost $5,000 in interest. And we're like, okay, that makes no sense. I actually owe less money. It should be less interest. So I'm going to take a look at what this loan's actually doing. Remember, what I wanted to do was take B2, the principal amount, times the percent divided by 12, the APR divided by 12. So let's look what this one does. So I look down here and it says B3. Okay, that's the principal. Oh, that's right. Times F5. Oh, but wait a second. F5 is actually this cell. Well, I don't want it to do that. So here's how we fix it. Every time we move down, it's going to bring the row number down one. So it went from F4 here to F5 here. We wanted that for the B3, but not for the F5. It should stay on this cell the whole time. So to freeze a cell value, what I'm going to do is come up here and I'm going to put a $ symbol in front of the, in front of the F and in front of the 4. What that tells Sheets is, hey, don't change F4 when I copy this down. So I'm going to hit enter, and now I'm going to go back up here, and I'm going to grab it and pull it down. And now this makes a lot more sense. Notice that it's B3 times F4 divided by 12, and this one is B2 times F4 divided by 12. The F4 isn't changing, but the principal is changing. So now I'm ready. I can actually drag this down, or you can try double clicking. Not yet. So we'll hold off on dragging this down yet. So let's try this one. Here's our formula, and we're going to drag it down one row. We're going to see what it does. So it says next month, after making a payment of $348, I still owe 14. Oh, look, I actually owe more money now. So something's wrong with this now. I shouldn't owe more. This number should be less than that one. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that one and go back up here. And, oops, maybe I won't delete it actually. I'm going to go up and look at this one and see what I really want. So I want B2, which is the principal last month, minus F6, which is my monthly payment. Okay, so I don't want this one to change, because when I go down here, notice how F7 is now I'm doing this one. So I need to freeze all three of these because they are all calculations. No, C2 needs to stay. Okay, so let's put a $ here, and a $ here, and a $ here, and a $ here. Because these two are the ones that I want to have frozen. I don't want them to change. That's my monthly payment, and that's here all the way down. Whereas this interest I want to change, because you should go down the table with it. Enter, and there's that one. Same number as before, and now when I copy it down a row, oh, that's interesting. So it did fix it. So I'm going to double click on this one, and it's going to copy all the way down. So double clicking on it will copy it all the way down through here. And notice here that my 4-year loan ends, and, well, not yet. We haven't done the interest yet. Do the same thing for interest, and I'm going to click all the way down here. And now my interest payments. Check yours. If your numbers aren't quite right, let's get them fixed. So make sure that they're exactly the same as mine. And if not, I'll show these. So your B3 formula should be here, and your C3 formula should be here. Make sure those are the same as mine. Copy and paste them all the way down. All right, awesome. Now we can come down here and we can see that our loan should run out right at the end of year 4. I'll be making that final payment right here at the end of year 4. So sure enough, my loan runs out at 4.